What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel ReefRx. Thanks for tuning in. So in today's video I'm going to show you how I added the Red Sea Reefmat 500 to my Waterbox 110.4. So far this thing's been working awesome. If you take a look, it's pulled so much stuff out of here. Prior to the Red Sea Reefmat I had the clear DI4 filters in here, but they didn't really do anything close to what this thing is doing. So this works amazing. I'm super happy with it. It's only been a couple of days, so I can't wait to see the long-term effects it has in a positive way in the tank. The tank's been so much clearer. Everything looks really good in here especially ever since I added that. So this is a bit of a long video. I wanted to give you guys a good detailed overview for those of you that are not too savvy with doing projects like this. So I'll add some chapters in so you can skip throughout the video to the parts that you want to specifically see. Also, if you watch the whole video, you'll see, two big failures I had just from a couple mistakes. You'll see that throughout the video. Another thing you'll see, so when I took my sump apart, it was really dirty. I had a ton of detritus in here. It was really bad. I hadn't cleaned this sump in a super long time, and it's very evident that I didn't do that. So I'm hoping with having these fleece rollers, I don't get all the detritus build up, because this thing really catches everything that goes in to the overflow. It just pulls it all right out. So you'll see that. I gave all the equipment a really good clean while I had everything taken apart. Took everything out, took all the equipment apart, cleaned it really well. You can see my skimmers looking brand new in here. Removed the ATO chamber over here. And removed all the other chambers I had, like where the inlet was and stuff like that. So it was super easy to do. This project took me longer only because I was going to do some plumbing modifications, which I'll talk about throughout the video, but that really didn't happen due to my my failures here. So there is also one part of the video where I start to cut out the chambers where I did not plug in my mic, so the audio kind of sucks for a couple of minutes, but it'll go back to regular. Couple safety tips: always make sure you're wearing safety glasses when you're doing stuff like this, and when you're using a knife, make sure to cut down, don't cut up, don't do what I did in the video. Luckily nothing happened this time. So and you also see starting out in the video how energetic my voice is, and towards the end how tired I get, because this was really a long project. Like I said, I think I started at like 10 a.m. and I didn't finish till a little after 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30 at night. So it took a while because I was doing a lot of things, and also included a trip to Lowe's, hoping they'd have a part that I forgot, but unfortunately they did not. So and if you take a look at this right here, you can see all the stuff on the roll here from the Reefmat. This is right after I installed it, and it had only been running for about a half hour. So it's a lot of stuff it pulled out in a very short amount of time. So I do expect the roll to use more, and the first roll to go through a lot faster than other rolls that I put in after, only because it's newly set up. So let's start off with I'll jump right into what I had in the tank with the clear filter rollers, and talk about why I wanted to change those out. So let's get to it. As you know, I haven't been a huge fan of my clear DI4 filter rollers, which I currently have in there. It's nothing but issues, and here's a prime issue right now. So if you see this is overflowing, the controller that the clears come with don't properly work. For me, I've gone through like 8 controllers, so I have it hooked up to my Neptune system, so every 2 hours it runs for like 3 seconds. But it's just aggravating. So, and it's not doing that good of a job of catching everything. Like I said, it's all overflowing there, so it's not doing anything. So what we're going to be doing is modifying the sump. I'll be taking out this chamber here, the sock chamber, and I'll take out, to be honest with you, I might remove all these chambers. I'm not sure yet. If you're going to do something similar, I'd highly recommend modifying your sump with going into a plan to modify it. I don't have a plan because I'm not really sure how everything's going to fit. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm definitely removing this chamber, and I want to remove this ATO chamber because it's just wasted space. It's like a junk drawer. And this chamber in the back here, where the water comes in, it just fills with detritus. So, and I'm going to have to run a hose to the Reefmat anyway. So what I'll probably do is remove that chamber as well, And I'm going to redo all the plumbing in here. I already decided that. I bought all the plumbing parts. I'm going to put some manifolds in there. So I'm really going to just revamp the whole thing. So I got to pull everything. I'm going to clean this sump, empty it, and then remove most of these panels here, these baffles. So this baffle here, I'm thinking I might have my return line come in here with the reef mat back here, move this over like an inch so I can put this skimmer over here so it's out of the way, and then I'll have all this room here for my fuge and some live rock, and then my return pump. So that's what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm going to pull everything out and see how it goes. I ordered plenty of plumbing stuff, so you know, I won't be worried about running out of parts. So what I have over here, I got the blue stuff, and then all the valves. I have a better check valve that I'm going to be installing. It's a more expensive kind, but it's easier to clean. It's more reliable because you can clean it. So, you know, when it comes to stuff like, you know, overflows, I really can't risk it. So I go the extra mile. And like I said, I have, we're going to be installing the manifolds as well, so I can throw in like some carbon or whatever I need to throw in there. So that's what we're going to be doing. So today, I'm filming this video, today's Friday. I'm not going to start this project till Saturday. Just made sure I have everything that I need. I did open up the reef map, but I can do it with you guys real quick just to check it out. More space over here. So I left everything just in how it was. So we opened this up. We got the power supply here, and then we take this cover off. I mean, this is really cool because this is all assembled. But what I will tell you is when I took this thing out of the box, I was like, holy cow, this is a lot bigger than I expected. So like even like measuring this and measuring in my sump, I'm really not sure how it's going to fit. So I'm just going to play around with it tomorrow. But it seemed very easy to move around and stuff. I mean, I think this pulls up and off like that. These things turn 25 or quarter turn, that pulls right off there. So it seems super easy to change a roll. I mean, to change a roll in what I have now, it's a project, I'm telling you. But everything just kind of comes apart here. I don't want to take too much of it out right now because I really don't want to lose something. It would make for a bad day tomorrow. So that's what we got going on for tomorrow. Super excited to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Like, I really wanted to see how the reviews were on this reef map before I started. Everyone had great things to say from what I've read, so I'm going to give it a shot here. Here's the hose. I'm told that it pretty much connects with anything, whatever sort of system you have. So, you know, we'll find that out tomorrow. Hopefully we find that out the good way. And then all the parts are in here. It looks like we got the, this is the sensor. So the sensor to trigger the roller to go. It's like some sort of conductivity sensor, so it actually has to hit salt water. So that meaning this reef mat will only work in salt water. So there's that, and then just some miscellaneous parts. These look like the feet, because I know you can freestand this, or there's a lip here you can stand it off. Like you can have a hook on the side of your tank, whichever works best for your system. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. I'm thinking I'm going to have it just hang on the side of the sump. I think that might be the easiest, but we'll find that out tomorrow when we start to put this thing together. And just some hose connection pieces there. And then it looks like we got the drive unit down there. So, oh, there's a nice manual here. But like I said, guys, I'd really recommend that if you're going to modify your sump in any way, shape, or form, or the plumbing, you have a plan that's drawn out. I've thought about this plan in my head, but I haven't put anything on paper, just honestly, because I really don't know how anything's going to fit. All right, I'm back. Today is Saturday. Today is the project day. I have everything I need here laid out. I'm just give you a quick rundown of what I got going on in case you want to do something similar. So almost any project you do with your tank, right, you need the 5-gallon bucket. So I got some of those. I'm going to put my Kato in there, some of my live rock in there, just so I can set it off to the side. I have a moving blanket. I put that moving blanket out right in front of the tank. Plus, too, when I bring out the sump, it'll help protect the glass and stuff like that. I got the Red Sea sump modification kit here. I saw that this seemed to help a lot of people, so I figured I'd give that a shot. Have a little pump here so I can pump out the water that is in my in my sump. So I got that. I got my clear PVC primer, my clear PVC glue. Got the channel lock because if you know, once you open up this PVC cement here, you need channel locks after that. So got some thread tape here. This is a cutter for acrylic, so if I need to modify my acrylic fuge baffle, I can do that. Got some PVC pipe cutter. This thing works awesome, so if you need to cut PVC, this is probably the easiest way to do it. Flashlight with the backup battery, some gloves. Anytime I throw my hands in the tanks, I get some sort of allergic reaction in my hands, so I try to wear gloves when I can because it gets super itchy. And just a brush and a little pitcher here. So I also have this little like toolbox thing for like a bunch of different miscellaneous stuff for my tank. So like I have, you know, shells in here for like snails. I got frag plugs, just all sorts of random stuff, like different parts. So it's good just to have this out in case. So also what I got going over here, oh, and also I got a very curious cat here. She likes to, anytime I'm working on a project, she likes to mess with everything. So you'll probably hear me throughout this video telling her to get out of here. I'm gonna mix up some salt water. So I have some freshly mixed salt water ready to go because whatever I drain out of the sump, I'm gonna replace with fresh salt water. Got my Tropic Marin Pro Reef salt here. So let's get this thing plugged in. So get this temperature up to par and get the pumps going so we can get some, have this on standby for when we need it. All right, so the next thing that I need to do is power off my equipment. Couple things to remember, including powering off your equipment. You're gonna wanna shut off your Trident, if you have a Trident hooked up to this, if your sample line's in your sump, which it should be because you don't want it to draw air. And then any dosing lines, ATO, if that's going to your sump, you wanna shut that stuff off too. So everything should be off. I have a defer statement, so the return pump will just take a minute to power off. And then we can start pulling all this stuff out. I'm gonna start pulling the equipment out first, and then we're gonna drain some of this and go from there. All right, so I got the skimmer pulled out, so I'm gonna start draining some of the water out of this sump into this bucket here. I just got this little small submersible pump, which will be perfect actually. Look at all that detritus in there. That's disgusting. So I'm hoping with this fleece roller, this kind of stuff won't happen as bad. I mean, there definitely is going to be detritus. I don't think there's any way around it, but I'm hoping it won't be to this extent. I got this massive size marine pure block as well. How much water that thing holds. All right, so that's that. Let's throw my Kato in here. Look at all that. I literally just harvested this, I think last week or the week before. It really hasn't been that long. It's pretty impressive. Look at the color of that water, huh? Oh, one important thing I forgot to mention. Make sure your probes stay in the water. So like your pH probe and all that. So I gotta put these up in there in my display tank. Completely forgot about those. But luckily that chamber wasn't out of water. My pH is over here, it's still in water, so we're good. Probably give those a good clean today too while I'm at it. All right, so the next thing I'm doing here, I'm removing my clear rollers out of here. I'm gonna see if I can get away with doing this without actually physically taking the sump out, because if I do, I gotta undo all these plumbing parts up here, and I hope you guys can see this. I really hope this video quality is not terrible with the GoPro head thing, because I really can't see what I'm filming, but like I said, I gotta get this project done, so. All right, so the next thing, I got the sump emptied out here, as you can see. The next thing I wanna do is I wanna drain the back of the overflow here, just because I'm probably gonna need to adjust these pipes under here. Not sure if you can see them up here. So I wanna make sure that's empty, just in case I have to do it. So I just got like a little siphon here. And then I'll stick this in the back down at the bottom, and I'll start that siphon. All right, perfect. We should be good there. And then I will dump this again. Probably gonna drain a little bit below the water level too, just so I don't have to risk anything overflowing. All right, so here's how we're looking. So everything's emptied out here. A lot of detritus. Like I said, I'm gonna clean this thing really good before I fill it back up. So I drained the overflow, and I drained a little bit below it, just because I don't want the wave makers of fish making a splash in there in case I do need this drained. And like I said, I'm really not sure if I need this completely drained yet, but I'd rather better be safe than sorry and just have it done with. Last thing I need is like unscrewing something and having just freaking water going everywhere. So I still kind of want to pull this whole thing out like physically, which means I got to remove these two just so I can see how everything fits. All right, I think I figured out what I'm going to do. And this kind of goes against what I preach. But options are limited without making this a massive size project. So my skimmer, which I didn't think was going to fit because I really couldn't test it before with the cup on and without removing it. My skimmer does fit in this on this width here, okay? Doesn't fit with this panel. This panel needs to come out, which obviously would have to for the skimmer to work. And then I would remove this one here as well. So if I take these two out, keep my return over here, keep my skimmer in here. The negative effects we might see on that, though, are micro bubbles into the tank. My skimmer doesn't seem to set off a whole ton of micro bubbles, so I'm not super worried about it. And also it goes against what I say because it's going to be after my fuge, because I don't like the copepods to get sucked up into it, but we might just have to do it because it would be less of a headache. And then I'll just take out these chambers here, put my fleece roller over here, probably just leave this chamber in the back, and I'll move these heaters forward so they're in with water flow. And that'll be a whole hell of a lot less work than what I had envisioned. So let's do it. So let me work on getting some of these panels out for a start. I'm going to start taking these panels out. I wasn't going to pull the whole sump out without undoing these, but I might just do it. And I am back to the tripod thing here. I couldn't take the headband thing. Yeah, see, it's coming. All right. So look, it's not that bad. It is dripping down a bit, but look, it's all going right into the tank. So if I just do that slowly, right? Just let it come down, go into the tank. All right, that wasn't that bad. Kind of felt like I was about to have a heart attack, to be honest, because I didn't know what to expect. All right, so let's do that. We're going to take the whole freaking thing out, and we're going to go from there. I might drain a little bit more off the top just to make me feel better, because that's too close for my liking. So let me do that, and I'll be back with you. All right, so I got my two overflows disconnected here, my main drain and then the backup. So those are disconnected. Not really much water came out of here, thank God. I was really worried about that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to drain some of this water in the back here, just using the suction thing here. And then get the rest of that water out, and then we'll start taking some things apart once we get all this emptied out. So, all right, so I got the sump all the way out, as you can see. I have it on an angle because I'm going to drain all this water at the bottom. And then all my equipment back there, like the heaters and stuff, I just cleaned off. I just got to clean off that grounding probes, the only thing I didn't clean, but it's nasty in here. I'm going to give this thing a really good clean, like I said, and start removing some of these panels. Tons of feather dusters in there, as you can see. Yeah, so let me get this thing drained out, and then we'll start cutting some panels. All right, so I got the sump all cleaned out here, as you can see. There's a lot of gunk in there, so it's nice and, well, it's not nice and clean, but once I get the panels out, I'll be able to do a little bit better job. So I did open up the box of the Red Sea. Get out of here, come on. See, I told you, she'd be all up in my business. Come on, go do cat things. This was the piece coming off of my main overflow drain, so I tested it just to make sure it fits with these Red Sea parts, and miraculously it's perfect. So I don't know, in the past when I'm trying to connect plumbing things, I never seem to have the right parts, which is why I ordered an abundance of stuff. So that's good. So I think the Red Sea Reefmat will be the easy part to hook up. I'm more concerned about how I'm going to do the plumbing on this tank. But like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put the skimmer over here, I'll have the Reefmat drain over here, and I'll have this whole area for Fusion Live Rock, which is going to be bigger than this. So I'm going to take this out. I don't think I'll need to separate the reef mat from the Kato. It can just all kind of grow in together, so I can take out this panel that I made, this baffle. So I'll have a much bigger fuge, which is really cool. I might not need it though because of the reef mat. From what I've heard, it really takes everything out of the water. So I'm gonna open up my kit here, the Sump modification kit, to start cutting some of these panels away, and I'll throw back on the head mount thing. So all right, let's get this started. All right, so here's the directions of the reef modification kit. So it looks like we're just going to cut each side of the silicone and kind of cut through it and then peel it apart. And yeah, I mean, the directions don't really say much. They're pretty vague. So, all right, let's get started. So this blade is somewhat flimsy, I think. So one thing you want to be careful of is when you're coming into the corners, be very careful. You don't want to cut that silicone, so you got to be super, super careful. So I first think I'm going to try to cut out this sock thing. So I'm not getting too close to that end there. Alright, let's try to peel some of this away. This actually is pretty easy to cut this so far. I'm thinking Red Sea knew there'd be a lot of people modifying their sump, so they put a lot of time and effort into creating a tool that's somewhat easy to make this happen. Alright, so I got that out. I need to cut this. And again, I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I mean, I don't know what the angle of the camera is, so. So now I'm just kind of getting under the sock part here to try to cut some of this and maybe cut through as much as I can. Yeah, so this is working pretty good. It's actually going through like, it's like slicing butter over here. Much to my surprise. You can see that's loose. Look at that, coming right out. Cut a bit over here. Look at that, it's out. That was, whoops, that was easy. Wow, I didn't think it would be that easy, folks. All right, let's get this next panel out here. This one right here. All right, now that that panel's out, I'm gonna try to scrape some of this extra silicone off here, just to clean as I go. So let me just see real quick how this thing fits in here. So my goal, I think, is to have it off of the lip. Yeah, you know what, that'll be perfect. Then I'll have all this other room for sump. What I will have to do is, so I'll have to come off the edge a bit. They make this universal, so the the inlet can go on either side, so I will have to swap it around. And then when I go to change the roll, it's super easy right here in the front. It's not aggravating, and that's what I'm all about. So Just keep on cutting. All right, guys, I got all the panels out of here that I want out. It was honestly a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So now I'm just going to take my rinse bottle. If you guys haven't picked up one of these just rinse bottles off of Amazon, whatever, you should really do it. It makes things easy. Just squeeze it and, well, just rinse just like that. I just fill it up with RODI water. But it was definitely worth the couple bucks that it cost. I use this thing all the time. It's an underrated thing for reefing. So just going to give this a good rinse and then wipe this down, and I will start getting the plumbing set up. If you guys are enjoying the video or finding it useful, I'd really appreciate if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All right, so where I'm at now, so I put the skimmer in just to see how everything fit with the return pump. So it looks pretty good. What I do want to do is use these panels, acrylic panels that I have, to black out this side so algae doesn't grow inside the skimmer or this whole chamber because of the fuge. So I'm going to use some Reef Safe silicone that I've had here from past projects. And I'm going to just silicone these up there. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take this A-carton type material and I'm going to silicone this over the window here so no Kato can come through this and get caught up in. I mean, I'll still get some that goes through, but it'll help block it through. So that's going to look like that. I'm going to do it on this side of the sump only because there's more room, and over here I'm very limited on room. So that's what I'm doing right now. And if you guys have any questions throughout this video, make sure you ask, leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to get back to you. All right, I got the acrylic put in, the black acrylic, and I got the egg crate in there. So it's just the silicone's drying, so I'm going to give that several hours. It's best to give it 24 hours if you can. I've done it less than 24 hours. The thing is, I don't need it to be watertight. If you were, needed something to be completely watertight, then yeah, definitely give it the 24 hours. But this isn't holding back water or anything, so just until it's dry, and it doesn't feel too squishy, I'll be okay. So usually like 3 hours from my past experience. The next part I have to do is change out the end piece here. So this is going to be the inlet, and this will be up against the wall here. So it's nice because these are universal. You can swap them out. If I put it on the left side, it's going to be too much of a kink here with this hose, and it's going to be, this will have to go over to the left more, just be a lot of wasted space. We're going to slide this over, switch these out. And again, everything seems super easy to take out, which I really, really like. I think it's going to be super easy to change out a roll. So I'm going to work on getting that swapped out, and I'm going to use a magic eraser to clean this glass. If you use a magic eraser, you have to make sure it's the original kind, and I personally wouldn't buy the store brand. I'd make sure you get the actual magic eraser, and it does a really good job at cleaning the glass if you have a lot of gunk on there that doesn't come off too well. So I'm going to give that one good last clean, waiting for this to dry, and I'm going to start figuring out how I'm going to do my plumbing. But I'm, feeling better about the whole situation going into this without a plan. I think it's working out pretty good so far, and hopefully I didn't just jinx myself. So we shall see. Just in case you're wondering what my living room looks like, it is a complete mess, as is the kitchen. I got stuff everywhere, but I got all my equipment cleaned. I took everything, what is that? I took everything out, all my equipment out, took it apart, cleaned it really good. So that's good to go. I'm just working on the plumbing now. So over here for my return, to put some Teflon tape on there. And I kind of got lucky because one of these, so I didn't think, because this is the Waterbox is metric, I didn't think that the parts I had were going to fit. I ordered a metric fitting for it, but I got the wrong kind when I realized it, like it wasn't what I needed. But I got really lucky here because one of my unions that's threaded fits right onto that. So I'll be able to hard plumb it all, because I thought I was going to have to use this flexible stuff, which I'm super glad I don't. So we're good there. What I am thinking, so this is my check valve, so I don't have a back siphon, right? So I'll run a little bit of pipe down. I'll have a ball valve right there. Well, yeah, I'll have a ball valve there just so I can completely shut it off if I got to clean the check valve. And after the ball valve, I'll have my check valve. So I'm going to set that up right now. This stuff is still drying. It's pretty good, actually. It's been a couple hours, so this part here is still a little squishy, but I would imagine in the next next hour or two we should be good to go, and then I'll be done with the plumbing as well. So we're coming along good. All right, so I just realized that I screwed up. I did not buy any tees. I thought I ordered 3 3/4-inch tees, but they're not here, and I double checked my orders and I did not buy them, so that really sucks. So I will not be able to finish my plumbing today, or do the manifolds. I will set this up so I'll be able to get everything back online, but unfortunately no manifolds, and I'll have to redo the plumbing. So luckily I got a bunch of extra unions and stuff, so it really won't be a huge deal. It was just easy to work with the sump pulled out. When I do go back in to finish this project, I will not be pulling the sump back out unless I absolutely have to, but I don't really see a need for that. So just going to finish getting some temporary plumbing for the return line there, and finish setting up this Red Sea Reefmat. And I can't stress it enough, if you're going to do a project, make sure you make a list and you have everything. I knew I needed the tees. I had them. I looked at them. I don't know if I just forgot to hit add to cart, or if maybe I added them to the cart and they didn't take, or what the deal was, but they were not in my order. So I'll just have to do, I got this thing set up here, this check valve, so I'll just plumb something off of there using the line that I have, this like flexible stuff that was in there before. So this will work in the meantime. It's not the end of the world. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. So I'm going to wrap that up, and then we'll get this sump back in there, and we'll start filling it with water. All right, so as you can see, I got my sump back in, and I did my temporary plumbing. So I just have the ball valve at the top, and I got my check valve, and then a union so I can easily undo this when I'm ready to install the manifolds once I get the correct parts. Got a 90 coming over it, and then some of that flex tubing that was originally with the sump, because that's what from here over is what like this part over is what I had already set up. So once, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel once I'm changing this next week. So now as far as hooking up the reef mat, so this is the original from Waterbox, the original overflow drain. And then I had an extension piece on it as well that I used to use. But now with setting this thing up, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to cut this pipe right about here. And then from there is going to be a connecting piece right just like that. And then this will connect to the reef mat. And then once I get that set up, then I'll put my other, that's where my emergency overflow is right there. I just put some paper towel in so it wouldn't leak. So that's what I'm going to do. Here's the setup. So I got my 2 heaters in the back here. The super long glass heater, that's just a backup heater, only kicks on if the primary was to fail. And then once I get my T fittings that I'm missing, I'll swap the skimmer and the return pump. So this is just because I didn't want to cut too short on this tubing, and I didn't have much, so I wanted to use the extra length. And then with this check valve in, it was just going to be too awkward. So this was just to make it easy. It'll get changed soon. And then I'll still keep the fuge over here, and then put some live rock in the back. But let me get cutting this, and then I'll come back and show you how to connect it. It's super easy, just twist on. But there's a few directions on that. So I just cut the tubing, and one thing I was thinking of when I was cutting this, I'm like, I hope I don't screw this up, because clearly there's a gap from here to the sump, and these are metric fittings. But then I thought, well, I could just flip it upside down where there's a coupling and attach that. So if you're worried about screwing it up, cut far enough down where you're going to have to anyways, because you get out of the other piece. But make sure you just give yourself a little extra so you can put that coupling back on and flip it back around so you can get the correct parts. So, all right, so now I'm going to connect the adapter piece. So the adapter piece is connected. Couple things to note here. Make sure that this piece that you need, the threaded piece, you put on the pipe first, because if you put this, if you glue this right here, the bottom piece, and you forget to put that on, well, you just wasted that piece. So you could either cut this if you had enough length and put a coupling to repair this. Otherwise, you're gonna have to order some new parts. So I made that mistake once a while ago, and I can assure you it was the first time and the last time, because you learn from your mistakes. So then this piece will screw on here. Yep, as I drop it. So that'll screw on there, and then the flexible hose will connect to this piece here. I'm just going to give that a few minutes to dry. PVC cement dries super fast. And I'm not a plumber or anything, but when you do connect, when you do glue, use cement, PVC cement, what happens is it creates a chemical bond between both pieces of PVC. So as it creates a chemical bond, sometimes the pipe will want to retract out of the coupling or whatever you're putting in. So you want to hold it tight for 10 seconds so that chemical bond can happen. So just another tip for you. I always use primer. I make sure I use clear try to say that 5 times fast. I use clear primer, and then I use clear PVC cement. A lot of the stuff you'll buy in the hardware stores that they'll have on end caps and stuff will be that purple stuff. But you want a nice clean look. You don't want that purple stuff. So when you're buying it, just double check, make sure you got the clear stuff. And if you're not seeing it where it is, go to the aisle where all the cements are, all the PVC cements, and you should find it there. And if for some reason your store doesn't have it in stock, it's worth the wait to order online, just so you have that nice clean look. And so now that we got this done, I think that should be good by now. I'm gonna bring in the Red Sea Reefmat and throw that in here. So that's gonna sit right on the lip here. It came with some rubber feet for the bottom, so it won't be hitting against the glass. And there's about an inch on the left there, maybe 3/4. That's where the end cap is. So, and again, you can connect this either way. I could have connected this the other way, but I think this way is what works best. I don't think it'll fit. Actually, you know what? It does fit that way. Huh. I think I'd rather just connect it this way, just for ease of changing it. I can just pull this down and then boom. So, we're gonna connect this now. Let me go get the stuff for that. All right, so you're not gonna believe this, but when I was installing the emergency overflow here, I noticed I moved something, and all of a sudden the return line got super loose. And long story short, what I had threaded in there wasn't nearly long enough. So thank God I noticed that, because otherwise there would have been a lot of water everywhere. It would have been well, it was aggravating, but it would have been more aggravating. So I had to put back in the factory plumbing there for the return, and I cut this too, but thank God I had enough spare parts to make this work. So it's back to its temporary setup. It's up and out of the way, so the skimmer's back in the front. So now we're going to be installing this right there. So the directions, they have this, it's not a lubricant, but some sort of sealant. So you put one of these little finger things on, and you put that inside the pipe here about I think it was like almost an inch. And then you slip this piece, you slip this on, you twist it, you actually twist it on, and then you can connect it. So I'm going to show you that real quick right now. This is like a condom for your finger. Oh, it comes in a tube, right? That's cool. So you're going to pierce this. So this must be like a glue substance. It's very thick. All right, let's start with this and see how we make out. So we're just going to apply this in there. Oh yeah, super thick. I assume you're probably going to work fast with this. It probably dries super fast. All right, so there is in there. Turn the light on, you can probably see better. And now I'm going to connect. All right, there it's on there, nice and tight. That's perfect. I'm going to connect this over here. It says you don't have to wait for it to dry, but I still got a couple things to do here before I'm ready to add the water back in, and I am over here praying that there is no leaks, so we shall see. All right, so this is the media basket that can go right into the bottom of your roller. So I have a thing of Chemi-Pure in here, so I just put it in my tank a few weeks ago, so it's still good. So I'm going to install that. It's supposed to just slide right in. Perfect. Hats off to Red Sea for thinking of that. That's brilliant. All right, so here is what the drive unit looks like. All right, so I just put the drive unit on. It was actually super simple. You just literally, this red thing is what holds it in. So if I pull this up, drive unit comes out. Okay, so you just put this in, and then you take this red piece here and you slip that in. Look at that, you can even do it one-handed. All right, so the drive unit's in. So the next step here is to add in the water level sensor, which I don't know where the hell I put. All right, folks, everything is hooked up here. So the directions now say to power on the unit, which I am going to do now. All right, so I will need to go to my Neptune app to power on the unit once I plugged it in where my old roller was plugged into. So let's do that. And I'm not sure how long this video is going to come out to be, but this has literally been an all-day project. I started around probably 10. It's 8 o'clock now. 10 in the morning to 8 at night. And I still got all this mess to clean up, so... You know, I'm no fortune teller, but I do see a stiff drink in my future. So I guess what I need to do is go to the ReefBeat app and set this up. So I'm going to download this on my app store now and get this set up. Alright, so I just got this added to my network and stuff to set up. So now this screen is asking what model it is. So it's a 500, so I'll hit next. Then it's asking me if the drive unit is on the right or the left. I'm assuming if I'm looking at it, which is going to be on the right, so hopefully that's the right one. I'll hit next. And then the end of roll reminder, I'd like to be reminded 2 weeks before. I'll do 15 days before, just in case there's back orders and getting some of these. So ReefBeat will notify you a few days before the roll needs to be replaced at the number of days. All right, so 15. And then this next step is asking the roll I'm putting in, which is a brand new roll, so I assume it's 19.9 feet. Yeah, 92 feet, so I'll hit next. And then you're all set. And then we connect it to the second roll. So this is actually a nice thick fleece. I like it. It's much better than the clear rolls that I use for the clear filter rollers, because those seemed very thin and didn't really seem like they caught much. So this piece right here goes under here, okay, and then this other piece of my hand goes on top. I'll show you in a second. So just like that, and then this gets pushed down. Should advance, roll that a few times to get that started there. Push that down. And then you turn this thing at the bottom to lock it. So I think we're good here. So let's start adding some water back into this thing, and fingers crossed there's no leaks. Oh, actually, I got to plug the rest of this stuff in, but I'll be back in a minute and we'll start putting water in here. All right, got the everything back in the sump here. Cato's in there, live rock. Got an air bubbler I use to just bring up the pH in the water. I don't think it really does anything, but it brings air from the outside, so I like bringing in the fresh air. And then I made sure I left room so I can change the media basket. All right, so I think that is it. I have everything running. Yeah, I'm gonna play around with the water level once I've redone everything and make sure I get it to where I want it. But for now, this is good. I'm not gonna go messing with the skimmer because it's gonna essentially want to break in again because I literally took every piece of it apart. So I cleaned everything out of it. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I don't want it to overflow, especially where it's so close to the edge here. That's my other concern, but gonna let it do its thing for now. Water in the back near the return seems to be flowing in good. Got that nice baffle coming over that baffle there. You can see it pouring in. Got some good oxygenation going on in here with all these bubbles. And the Red Sea Reefmat's got about an inch to go before it advances, so I'm not sure that's going to be, if it's just clogged up from all the stuff in the tank going in. It's kind of cloudy now that I've mixed it all, everything got mixed up, but I'll do an update video here in a week or two, maybe 3, actually probably be a couple of weeks. I got a lot going on next few weeks, and then I'll also do a video when I actually do my plumbing once this is just temporary. So, but who knows, I might put that project off for a while now that this is done. So thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, please be sure to ask. I hope I can help you. Hopefully this video you found useful if you're considering buying the Red Sea Reefmat, especially if you have a Waterbox. You know, it's a nice upgrade. It seems better than the Clears DI filter rollers I was using. And the most awesome part that I found was that the Red Sea Reefmat had all the plumbing parts you needed to connect to your Waterbox. So it really doesn't get much better than that. So if you're just adding the Reefmat, your project will not be nearly as complicated as mine. You really just got to take out that sock chamber baffle. You don't even have to. You could move the Red Sea Reefer over here, but I like to have a lot of extra space in my sump. So that's it for now, folks, and I'll catch you soon. Thanks for watching.